Your men are exhausted, your supplies limited, and the enemy laughs at your tiny force.
The people of Medina will have to learn a lesson. Will these 313 face us?
History remembers some battles not for their size, but for how completely they changed the world. The Battle of Badr was one of them.
Years of persecution had forced the followers of Muhammad to leave their homes in Mecca and seek refuge in Medina. Their departure left their families and possessions behind, which were seized by the Quraysh. Among these was a massive caravan led by Abu Sufyan, carrying stolen wealth north towards Syria. For the Muslims, this caravan was more than gold and goods. It was a symbol of injustice that demanded redress. A small contingent of 313 men and young boys lightly armed, set out from Medina to intercept the caravan, not to plunder, but to reclaim what had been taken from them. The stakes were high. The Quraysh, learning of the Muslim movement, assembled an army nearly 3 times larger, equipped with the finest horses, camels, and weaponry, determined to crush this new force before it could achieve anything. The desert heat bore down as both sides converged toward Badr, a plain where water wells would play a crucial strategic role. Overnight, the Muslims secured these wells, ensuring their own supply while denying it to the approaching enemy. That night, rain fell unexpectedly, a blessing for the smaller force, softening the ground for their march while turning the heavier Meccan army's advance into a grueling slog through mud. As dawn broke, the two armies faced each other across the plain. 313 versus 1,000. The disparity was staggering, yet the Muslims were disciplined, united, and unwavering in their faith. Every soldier knew the odds, but also understood that their cause was just. The first phase of battle began with single combat. Champions of the Quraysh, armored and confident, stepped forward. One by one, they fell before the courage and skill of the Muslim fighters. Each duel shook the morale of the larger army. What had been a confident force now faced fear. Then the full-scale clash erupted. Horses and camels charged, swords clashed, and the cries of men filled the desert air. Despite being outnumbered, the Muslims fought in tight formations, rotating fresh fighters to the front lines. Each man acted with precision, discipline, and unyielding determination. The enemy advanced relentlessly, expecting the smaller force to crumble. But every attempt to break the Muslim lines failed. The battlefield seemed to bend in favor of the believers, their courage amplified by strategy and the belief that victory was guided by a higher power. By mid-battle, the tide shifted dramatically. Leaders of the Quraysh fell, and panic spread among their ranks. A force that had been confident and arrogant began to falter. The disciplined rotation of fresh Muslims soldiers at the front lines ensured that exhaustion did not weaken their defense. Each wave of attack from the Meccan army was repelled. The smaller Muslim force began counterattacking strategically, exploiting every opening. Witnesses later described scenes that seemed impossible. The battlefield, though dominated numerically by the Quraysh, was increasingly under Muslim control. And heavy cavalry were rendered ineffective on the softened terrain, while the smaller, lighter fighters moved swiftly and struck decisively. The clash reached a crescendo when key Quraysh leaders were slain. Fear spread like wildfire and disarray overtook order. Retreat turned into panic, and the once confident armies scattered across the plains. The Muslims, though few in number, had not only survived, they had won. By sunset, 70 leaders of the Quraysh lay dead, 70 more were captured, and the rest fled. The victory at Badr shocked the Arabian Peninsula, a small community that had been mocked, oppressed, and underestimated suddenly stood as a force to be reckoned with. This battle was not just about soldiers and weapons. It proved that courage, faith, and strategic planning could overcome seemingly insurmountable odds.
The Muslims returned to Medina with their heads held high, reclaiming their honor and establishing themselves as a growing power in Arabia. Across Mecca and the surrounding regions, perception shifted overnight. A leader once dismissed as weak was now celebrated as a military genius. Tribes who had doubted the fledgling Muslim community now regarded it with respect and caution.